T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Hey, you guys. Welcome to the Women's Wrestling Talk, SmackDown and AEW Rampage Aftershow. Per usual, I'm your girl, Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and co-host for Women's Wrestling Talk and commentator. But my regular tag team partner, Dreon Santana, our editor-in-chief, isn't here because she is on vacation because it is her birthday weekend, and of course we want to send her wonderful and beautiful happy birthday wishes and hoping that she had an amazing week. Of course, I hope you had an amazing holiday this week as well. But with me is one of our mighty warriors in Women's Wrestling Talk. He is a very gifted writer and an amazing wrestling fan who wanted to hop on tonight because there's just something special in wrestling going on this week after Money in the Bank took place and all of the above. This is Sammy. He's always in our live feed and everything, and our comments and everything. So it's nice to finally have him on. So Sammy, how are you?
I'm good, actually. You know, on Fridays we live it up. So I'm here. So, I'm here, hanging in there.
Yeah, that's all you can do. We're hanging in there, and everything's gonna go as good as it can be. So yeah, how did you feel about this episode of SmackDown after all of the events that took place at Money in the Bank?
Overwhelmed. It was it was a lot packed into one episode. But Roman came and he was there. So I mean, it is what it is with him. So typical WWE.
Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. That's about the perfect answer for that. It was a lot going on after Money in the Bank took place with this episode of SmackDown. A lot of mixed views I've seen online and stuff, involving this episode of SmackDown. And also when it comes to Rampage, there's some stuff going on as well because they're leading up to their AEW Rager, and then they're also getting ready to sort of build up towards All Out, which takes place in September. So it's a lot going on, but either way, we're here to help guide you guys through it. If you guys are in the please know what's going on, what's on your mind, as we discuss certain things and stuff like that. So of course we're going to start with SmackDown, and of course, like you mentioned, Sammy, earlier, we got a visit from our tribal chief, the king of us all, Roman Reigns, and the bloodline. It's been a while since we've seen Roman. Pretty crazy. It's been such a long time since we've seen Roman. He decided to take a little bit of a break, but he popped up with Paul Heyman and, of course, the undisputed tag team champions, the Usos, in tow. And he just came in to basically reiterate to everyone that he is that guy, even though he's been gone, to sort of also beef up the idea that him and Brock Lesnar are supposed to have one last fight for the last man standing match at SummerSlam in 3 weeks. It's so crazy how we just got through with Money in the Bank, and
Talk
now it's like
fast.
SummerSlam is coming up like right up on us. It's crazy.
Yeah, I
Sammy,
mean,
what did you say? You're kind
I
of
said
breaking up.
it's
Sorry.
crazy because who would have thought SummerSlam would have been like 3 weeks away? It's crazy. It's it's crazy to see Roman and Brock. I mean, WWE messed up unifying everything that they have. The only thing that they haven't unified was the women's titles and the United States and Intercontinental titles, but they messed up unifying the tag team and the main title because Roman, he stay at home, probably shooting Hollywood films with The Rock. So, I mean, shout out to him. He doesn't do
Yeah,
anything
that is
for
more
me.
than likely true. That he probably is shooting movies or he's spending family time because he has like a whole house of children with his wife and stuff. So maybe he was taking a break, but at the same time, a lot of people feel like even in our chat, Joseph, who is a constant supporter of Women's Wrestling Talk, thank you for watching us, is saying the same thing. He said it was the same song and dance with our tribe. It's been 677 days of him as our chief. We
That's
know
a long
it's Roman and Brock at SummerSlam, but there was mind blank at the end with Austin Theory. Yes, we'll get to Austin Theory in a few seconds. But basically Roman was just out here saying the same thing that he always does. But then Paul Heyman was out there and he was talking about how afraid Paul Heyman seems because Brock Lesnar is challenging him for both of those titles again, while also being afraid for Brock Lesnar in the sense that he has to face a more vicious version of Roman Reigns. So that's basically what happened there. And in the midst of him, beefing up Roman Reigns, we got a visit from a certain Mr. Money in the Bank, Mr. Austin Theory. Of course, his name is just Theory, but this was him sort of showing off his briefcase while Roman just kind of looked a little bit puzzled at him. But that's basically what happened there. So, basically, Theory is just out here to antagonize everyone as if to say, hey, it doesn't matter who wins the last man standing match at SummerSlam. I'm gonna do my on either one of y'all and I'll be champion. What do you think about this turn of events, Sammy?
I I I like Theory. It'll be interesting to see with the Money in the Bank because we have never had this where the titles were like unified and everything with a Money in the Bank. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes after one title or possibly both. But I hope he dethrones Roman. So Roman, he can go off somewhere and hopefully never come back. So, yeah, 677 days is too long. So he needs to give up the titles immediately.
Yeah, I understand that sentiment. Like I said, a lot of people feel that way. Adrian, even Santana, she feels that way too. Like I know you're a constant watcher of our live
Yeah.
after shows, so you know that Santana hates Roman. So it's almost like you're taking her place with how you feel just for this weekend. So it's funny. A lot of people are tired of the Roman Reigns thing, but I love Roman Reigns. I think it's cool, how he's wearing the both the titles on his back now because he's just, I just like this new swagger to Roman Reigns. But at the same
Yeah,
time, eventually you do know that certain things do wear out their welcome. So I understand how you feel. I understand and I respect it. I absolutely
it
respect it.
is horrible.
So yeah. So yeah, I get it. But in the meantime, let's get off Roman a little bit. We had a tag team match between I believe it was the Viking Raiders, of course the new vicious Viking Raiders against
I don't know them
Jinder
people.
Mahal and Shanky. What, Sammy?
I don't know them people. The Viking Raiders. I don't know them. I don't like them people.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a new attitude. So basically what's going on is they have a new attitude. They've turned heel in the past couple of weeks. So they're being bad guys now. They had to fight Jinder Mahal and Shanky. But Shanky hasn't really been focused as of, late because he's just been trying to get down and dance to all of his things or whatever. But Jinder Mahal doesn't like it. And in the midst while Jinder Mahal was trying to get the best of the Viking Raiders, Shanky was distracted with trying to dance and hobnob with the WWE universe, and this wound up costing them the match because, as you can see here, you have Jinder Mahal getting lifted up by the Viking Raiders into their signature slam, and the Viking Raiders wound up coming out with the win there. So they're kind of going on their tirade of terror, and it's just a lot going on. But I just wonder, what is it about Jinder Mahal and Shanky that people that WWE keeps putting them together and putting them out there, knowing full well that Shanky really isn't that focused on competing and more focused on dancing. Like, what did you think about this, Sammy?
For one, I don't really care about the Raiders or whatever they're called. The Vikings Raiders. I don't care that they don't rate anything. The only thing they'll be rating in the next month, hopefully, is the release. Um,
Oh Jesus.
Shanky would be very good for like a 24/7 title. But I mean, it's comical. So I mean, I like it every week. It's very comic. But I mean, I like it. But I mean, other people don't like them per se. But I mean, I think it's gonna entertaining as hell. So hey, let's dance.
Yeah, it is entertaining, but I do like dancing, and I think that that's cool or whatever, but I just wonder how long is that going to sustain itself and how long they're going to sustain themselves as a tag team. Like, it just doesn't seem like it seems like eventually they're going to have to, break up and have a parting of the ways.
Hopefully not, because
Eventually.
there's no. I mean, yeah, eventually, but hopefully they don't, because knowing the Usos, that they will never let these titles go if they keep picking up tag teams, and we hardly have any right now, guys. Is so hopefully they stay together, but fingers crossed. Shanky gives us a YouTube video on how to dance with him. I will be there.
Yeah, I get it. Because Shanky deserves to have his joy. He deserves to dance, but we'll just have to see what happens. But after the Viking Raiders won their match, they got confronted by the New Day, of course, who they've been attacking in the past 3 weeks. And the New Day came out and basically said their piece and said that they were, tired of getting beat up by them and basically had what they called their ass kicking tickets, and they ran into the ring and bum rushed him. Just a few seconds of it here. Um, just prepared to fight. Like, they were fighting, but then somehow or another the Viking Raiders got the advantage and started beating up on the New Day. And it was kind of sad to see because you don't want to see, Kofi and Xavier get beat up this bad,
I
3 weeks
don't.
in a row. But that's exactly what's been going on, and it's just so sad. Like, it's almost like somebody had come out and attacked the New Day and bully them, and it's just so sad.
I
How do you feel about the state of the New Day, Sammy?
I, I think um honestly, I think since Biggie is kind of like out and we don't know when he's coming back, that's like the big if. I do think right now they really don't know what to do with them. Like I feel like they don't know what to do with them as a tag team. I mean, I would. I mean, as to SummerSlam, I wouldn't mind if somehow the New Day insert themselves into the tag team title match. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I just think they don't know right now what to do with them. So it's kind of like, what can you do? Like, what can you do, honestly?
Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's like WWE has sort of backed themselves into a corner with the day, simply because of the fact that New Day, has, done everything that they possibly can do. And then since Big E, has injured, there's really not that much they could do, with just two of the members. It's not like, two of them are injured and only one can go on a singles run. It's literally one's injured and the other two are there. And it's just kind of awkward. And you have Usos who hold all the titles, and then they're in a beef with the Street Profits on Raw. So it's just kind of like that sort of leaves New Day sort of floundering a bit. And it's really sad because they're so
Yeah.
talented and they've done so much. And you just don't want them to just be floundering, in nothingness. But, everything
Yeah.
will turn around considering Big E is off of his cast. Um, so hopefully at some point something can happen, but we got some action going on in the comments here. Joseph is saying, I think Vince's obsession with the bloodline has hurt the tag team scene. Also, the Usos' reign has gone on too long. Yep,
That's the one.
as long as Roman's reign has gone, the Usos' reign has gone on super long. So I can understand that sentiment. Um, we also have JD. Thank you for joining us. If you're being WWE, what do you do with Biggie when he comes back? Continue with the New Day or break him off to have a solo run? That's a good question.
Mm. Ooh,
That's a really good question.
I would have him just come back with the New Day because I want him to get revenge on Ridge Holland. Um, and like I really want him to get some revenge because there has not been a payoff from that rivalry, and I don't think people would be like upset or mad if it got like like renewed or anything. I don't think anyone would be upset because it's history. So I think I wouldn't put Biggie in a solo run since I don't know who he would possibly like, what brand he would be on possibly, and like how you would book him when he comes back. That's the only thing. I mean, I wouldn't do.
I would book him on SmackDown and put him with the New Day as well. I agree with that. Be that when he got injured, and I know because I was actually there for that show. Um, when he got injured, that was on SmackDown, and that was when that rivalry with Ridge and Sheamus and Butch. So I actually would like to see a payoff um with that happening, but I'm not exactly sure they'll do that. But that
I
is a
don't.
good idea because I don't necessarily want to see Biggie himself again just yet. I do want to see him, however, have a redemptive arc with the WWE title at some point,
Yeah,
but he has some business to finish with the New Day first.
yeah, especially with Ridge, because ugh, he needs his release papers also. I'll just keep it
Sammy,
there.
you're just releasing people. You're just releasing
Shoot,
people left and
I've
right.
called corporate before, so listen, I've called corporate before. Corporate, they've been doing right, so I haven't had to make that call yet. So just know, I, corporate's on speed down, number one.
hmm I feel you. You got to raise your voice sometimes if you don't like certain things. I get it. I get it. So following that, we had an open challenge from the Intercontinental Champion Gunther, of course, with Ludwig Kaiser. They came out and issued a challenge for the Intercontinental title. Then they kind of went to a commercial break, but in the midst of that, you had a little change going on commentary because Happy Corbin came out and sat with Michael Cole and Corey Graves because he was the one who attacked Pat McAfee after Money in the Bank went off. So after it went off, they showed a clip on SmackDown tonight of Pat McAfee getting attacked by Happy Corbin, and having to put on a neck brace after he went, to see the UFC fight this past weekend. So that happened, and Baron Corbin was on commentary tonight. And let me just say, as a commentator, as a fellow commentator, I really felt like he didn't do as well. And I'm not saying that because I don't necessarily like Happy Corbin's character, but I'm saying that because it was true. There wasn't that
He
much he
did
was adding
horrible.
to commentary. It felt like if it was just Corey and Michael talking, I would not have been able to tell the
Yeah.
difference at all. So basically, he was out there he was out there to basically, rib everybody and dance on top of the commentary table the same way that Pat McAfee does whenever a certain wrestler comes out. But that wrestler who came out and answered the open challenge was, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura, who used to be a rival of Baron Corbin because he's the reason why he wasn't king anymore. So Shinsuke came out and answered the open challenge, but he decided to not fight Gunther and fight Ludwig instead, to lead up to it, which I thought was kind of weird because I'm just like, if this
I
is an
did.
open
I'm
challenge
just
for
like,
the,
I don't.
that was weird.
It was. I was like, so you have an open challenge, but then it was. And I don't know what's going on with his reign. I stopped tuning him at tuning him out. I just tune him out.
You
I
tune
just
out Shinsuke or you tune out Gunther?
Gunther. My y'all know I love Ricochet. Yeah, y'all already know that's my number one. But yeah, he needs his title back immediately.
Okay. So you feel like Ricochet was kind of, sandbagged after he lost his IC title.
Yeah, cause I mean I know they were like Gunther Walter, whatever identity crisis he wants to have, or whatever name he wants to be next week.
Oh man.
I think like y'all only gave it to him because he was higher up. Like yes, he was UK champion for a long time because of COVID, and like I just wouldn't give it to him. I mean, squash matches don't earn titles, especially on the main, especially on SmackDown. You have to work your way up, and I felt like Ricochet did not scratch the surface as to what he can do as champ. And that's just how I am. So the lucky corporate
Okay.
was not called on them that night.
Okay, I agree. I agree. I literally feel like there was so much that Ricochet could have done, as the Intercontinental Champion. Like I feel like it took so long for him to even get that opportunity, right? So for him to have it and then not even defend it as much on pay-per-views as he did on SmackDowns,
that
and
that
then for him to go on and lose it was kind of, sad. But at the same time, it's like when you have Gunther, it's like he's very dominant, but at the same time, it's just like, who else can you have that will realistically, fight him and actually give him a run for his money? It is a little bit weird that way. But okay, we have comments going off. Joseph said Gunther is intimidated at the thought of Nakamura beating him for the Intercontinental Championship. I think so too, because
Yeah.
he is a former champion. Shinsuke is a former Royal Rumble winner and stuff like that. So he is pretty successful in his own right. And he's a former US champion as well. So if Shinsuke made a good point, for him to be the contender for the title. He made that tonight in his match versus
Yeah, he did.
Ludwig Kaiser. He really did. They had a pretty good match. I enjoyed it. So I really enjoyed the action, of course. And then it was nice to see Ludwig Kaiser fight in a match, since he's been brought up to the main roster. Because we hadn't really seen him fight since him and Imperium were a thing. So it was good to see him and his abilities, take
It
place, even
was.
if it was only for, a few minutes. But it was still a good match, and it was good to see Shinsuke hit his Kinshasa with Corey Graves on commentary because nobody sells that move better than Corey.
Nobody.
So it was really good, and Shinsuke came out with the win. So now it's safe to say that he wants to challenge Gunther for the IC title. But in the midst of that, Gunther was angry at Ludwig, and he proceeded to punish him by smacking him in the chest over and over again. That was
Them,
painful
them
looking.
chops are listen. Them Walter chops. Oh lordy, I feel sorry for whoever takes them because I would not. So shout out to y'all for getting your chest red week after week. Because that I hope y'all have some icy hot and take some ice baths. Because them chops. No man.
Yeah, I know I couldn't do it either. Like, I'm sensitive anyway, but hitting me in the chest like that, that's not gonna work. Like, especially with those big old ham hands of his, like,
Yeah, nah,
that would not work.
not
But
at
move on, we're gonna move on to a more happier note on this episode of SmackDown, which is of course them showing clips and celebrating the win of a certain new Miss Money in the Bank and new SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan, who they kept calling an underdog and basically like, the believer and stuff like that, and so many beautiful names to match her spirit. But yes, Liv Morgan is our new SmackDown Women's Champion after cashing in on Ronda Rousey at Money in the Bank. Everybody was thrilled with it online and everything because she had been working so very hard throughout her career to get to this point with almost, attempts, but never really truly winning and reaching the higher part of the mountain until now. And it was just so great to see her win. And it was satisfying for me because I could see how she improved, and then seeing
all.
everything she had to endure from so many different character changes to her friends being released and so many different things, and now she's risen to the top of the mountain. So this is a part of the reason why, Sammy, you're here, right? So tell us how you
Absolutely.
feel about Liv.
Liv, let me tell y'all, Liv is my girl. Like, I've been repping her since 2013 when she started in NXT. I was literally crying at Money in the Bank when she pushed Becky off the ladder because last year that superhero chick won. That was atrocious and horrendous, absolutely horrendous. I was crying because it was a moment where I was like, finally, like, Liv has worked her behind off this past year to get to the point and to prove a lot of people wrong, because a lot of people were saying, oh well, Liv isn't going to win, Liv isn't this, but I mean, y'all haven't seen her every week say, watch her. I mean, hello. I mean, and honestly, people were like, which is why I'm so happy, like, she beat Ronda Rousey, because people were literally sitting here on Twitter like, oh, they're going to make Liv the first woman to unsuccessfully cash in and lose to Ronda.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you something. Them same people when I watched Money in the Bank that said that they were in hush mode. It was crickets when this girl went and beat Ronda Rousey. I mean, she should have sent Ronda off to be on her farm with her husband, on baby making vacation, as Ronda calls it. But I mean, I'm just so happy, and she proved like a lot of people wrong. Like she honestly, if she beats Ronda, which I know she will, she'll be proving a lot of people wrong, and that she's here to stay. And that's just that. If you don't like her or love her, I mean, Liv is champion. Like people say, oh well, what if we don't know how she's going to be a champion? Yeah, she's not good on the mic, but we have not seen what she can do as a champion yet. So I'm happy. I can't wait. I'm
Yeah,
just
I see that and I love that for you. I love how happy you are that she is a champion, and I was really happy too. I didn't cry, but I did clap. I clapped because I was just like, man, like she's been working so hard for it. And I remember watching her in NXT, sort of start off and sort of look like, and sort of had that whole Jersey girl thing going on.
yeah.
And just watching all of her evolutions and all of her iterations and stuff, and seeing her come up with the Riot Squad or whatever. So her journey has been one for the ages.
It's been
So
hectic. It's been
yeah, and so watching her win really was a sweet victory. It's like the culmination of watching someone work really hard and then finally their dreams come true.
and the
It's
fact that
it's so beautiful.
and the fact that not only was like the backstage happy, but even other like people like wrestlers, Ruby Soho, like people genuinely have seen this girl work and know what she's been through, and that deserves respect. If you don't like her character, okay, people say she don't have character, but you have to respect the fact that that nobody can say that this girl came in here and basically and took a title. People can say that she worked for that
Ex-
title.
Exactly. And like I was saying, she came out, all triumphant and everything, looking cute with her little shoes or whatnot
I
and
need
everything.
them. I need them
Yes,
shoes though. She has on. I
they're
need them.
cute.
I
They're
I,
really
I
cute.
do.
Yes, they were really cute. I liked her little outfit. And then Michael Cole was interviewing her in the ring after that point, after they showed everything that happened in a recap. And he was basically telling everybody her journey and how she basically worked her entire life. Well, not worked her entire life for that opportunity, even working as a waitress to save up money to go to wrestling school. Like that's the stuff that legends are made of there. Like she really worked for this. And he was just asking her, how she felt about it, and how she's just willing to fight any and everybody that steps her way, because she wants to keep that title. Like she doesn't want to to just be like a flash in the pan champion. Like she really wants to work to keep that title and fight whoever she has to fight in order to keep it. So in the midst of all of that, heartfelt beauty and all of the above, we had Little Miss. We had Miss Natalia, who came out to try to ruin her moment, which was so sad because it's just like, man, we just saw you um do this on Raw or whatever, and you tried to come out and ruin her moment then. So why is it you're strutting out here on SmackDown again to do the same thing? And she was just being a party pooper pants like she always is. So she basically said that Liv should be giving her the credit, because if it wasn't for her wearing Ronda down, that she wouldn't have been able to cash in and beat Ronda for that title. Basically the same thing she said Monday.
Yeah,
But Liv Yeah, but Liv wasn't exactly in the mood to hear it. But even as Natty was talking, Rhonda finally did come out and address the situation. Um, and as she addressed this situation, it was just kind of like you could tell that Rhonda wants her title back, but at the same time, she wasn't going to take away Liv's moment either. Like she was trying to, give her the right to celebrate. But then as Rhonda was coming out and walking out, she was limping. like her and Natalia really did wrestle a really good match this
Yeah,
Saturday. Their match was really good from a technical standpoint.
yeah, technical standpoint, but anything else, it was horrible.
I mean, because honestly, I was wondering exactly how Ronda was going to, stack up against someone like Natty, who is just, you know, Miss Hard. And I was just kind of like, and all that that entails. So it's just kind of like, I wonder how she was going to step up with that, and she did. But wound up winning. But at the same time, Nezuka stopped until he gave her a little bit of indication on that match, and that's what happened. Before she got cashed in on, and that's why she's no longer champion. But you saw Ronda out here, and she was sort of getting a little bit catty with Natty, and then she challenged her to a match, and this match was relatively short, I guess, because
It was.
I actually had to walk out and do something else. Like I had to walk out and do something else, and by the time I came back, the match was over, and Ronda had won. And I was
I
like, "Girl, what? What happened?"
I, j- I, I just the only thing that, and this might sound like, if Ronda doesn't want to be champion, I'm just like, why? Like, well, what is this? Like, you don't have no wrestling gear. Like, you have to wrestle in a tank top. Like, you don't have no wrestling gear. Like, no shorts, no sports bra, nothing. I'm confused. She needs yeah, she needs to be beat at SummerSlam and never come back at all. Never. And it's what it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it has been made official that Ronda and Liv Morgan will be fighting at SummerSlam for the SmackDown Women's title. I do believe that Liv has a fighting chance to actually beat her, straight up. So I have faith in Liv. Liv has faith in Liv,
I
and you have faith in Liv,
really
and that's really all that's important.
I really am hoping that next week, I really want them to do it in a triple threat with Natalia too, because feel like feel like Liv, besides Ronda and Natalia on SmackDown, it's really no one else she can defend her title against right now. Shotzi's absolutely horrible, but anyone else, like, I don't see anyone else being a champion right now. Like, I just don't know, like, who else. If she beats Ronda at SummerSlam, who else can she face? And that's the question. I think I want to know after, like, who would she defend her title against?
It's funny that you said that because Shotzi was actually my second prediction to win Money in the Bank simply because she hasn't really had, a good go of things since she's been up on the main roster. So I felt like that would have been my second choice, my second prediction to win outside of Liv, because Liv was my number one prediction. But outside of that, I have an opinion from Joseph about, the women championship picture. He said Ronda wants to be champion, I think. She wants to know what it's like, I think, to be cashed in. Also, Vince is in a pickle. Well, he's in more than one pickle, but we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah,
Because there is
yeah,
no
we're
four
not.
horsewomen. Yeah, on Bailey. Becky is on Raw, Sasha and Naomi, and Bailey has been in limbo for 13 months. Yeah, where is Bailey? Like, is she coming? Like
I
what's going
wouldn't
on?
be
That's weird.
surprised. Honestly, I would not be upset if she shows up at SummerSlam and attacks Bianca. That would be that would be, if she comes back in Bianca's hometown and attacks her. I think that would be the perfect way to bring her back, because we have not seen, we all know they were supposed to have another I quit match or something. So I do think if she attacks Bianca after
Mm-hmm.
this match in her hometown, I don't know who she's defending the title against yet. That's still up in the air. Um, I do think that will be Bianca's next feud, and hopefully it's good because I miss her already. So hopefully.
Yes, really a lot as well. And I also miss Sasha and Naomi, but I don't know how that's gonna play out. But yeah, Liv is the champion. She really has her work cut out for her, but I believe in her. We also got Nikki in the comments. Hey Nikki, thank you for the love that's going on. So up next after the segment that happened, well, there was another women's segment that happened into that later. We had the debut of the tennis line for the Maximum Male models with Max Dupree, and that was pretty funny. I actually enjoyed it last week and I enjoyed it this week because of course you had the models having on new clothes as Masse and Mansoor. I'm just gonna say Mansoor because I can't remember how he pronounced it because it's a new one.
Something like that.
Mansoor, yeah, something like that. But yeah, as you can see, for a few seconds, on your screen, you had Masse out here modeling his stuff, showing off his guns and with
Mhm.
his hair and everything.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Give me more. Absolutely. Matter of fact, let me be with them next week. Okay. I want to know where I can get a pair of those shorts Mace had on. If y'all know, DM me because trust and believe, when I could go to a SmackDown show, I will be dressed up like one of them.
Yeah,
So
it
yeah.
really cosplay, because it's really cute. Those shorts were amazing and they were very flattering in certain areas.
Oh,
We're gonna keep it
absolutely.
PG. Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If people don't Finn, listen. Now we know Finn's been everywhere, but trust and believe after tonight, y'all gonna want to tune in for two new ones, right? Right here. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we had Monsoir come out and he had his little stuff going on as well. Like, hopefully, if the screen will load, you'll be
Yeah, I
able to
can.
see what's going on and what he had on. Yeah, it was just his jacket and everything, and then he had the balls in his pocket and whatnot. Like, he just had a lot of good stuff going on there. So
this has
they
to
did a
be.
really good job tonight. I liked it.
This has to be like I was kind of like I love Mace, like I love Mace to death. I was so happy that when he debuted under this new gimmick, I was kind of hesitant about like, okay, you're a model. I don't but I do find it hilarious week after week, like these whole gimmicks and the website that they have now. It's I love it.
It's hilarious. I absolutely adore it. Like, it's just so different, and I think because it's so works because it's so different than anything we've seen in a while. Like, I just enjoy it so much, and I can't help but feel like if Tyler Breeze was there, he'd be a part of it.
This
Like,
that
Tyler Breeze, I felt like would have been perfect for it.
that I absolutely like that whole modeling gimmick Prince Pretty. I felt like if they were to ever bring him back, he would be perfect for this role. But I need next week them to model their short collection. I need the maximum short collection next week to be modeled. I'm large, in shorts, but I can I would like WWE to titillate the what's it called, the titillate the flowing juices or whatever they say.
Yeah, to titillate the flowing juices of your guilty pleasures, I think, something
Yes,
like
I
that.
need the short collection on shop.com tomorrow, immediately.
But here's the thing though, they do have a website. Maxim Male Models actually has a website where you can type in your name and give them a headshot, and send them, your profile so you can tell them, show them, how good looking you are. So Sammy, maybe you should try that.
I mean, hey, you never know. I mean, I am going to an event hopefully next month, so I will bring. I will try to order the shirt as well as wear some shorts. And have a red carpet. Where's Melina at when you need her with the red carpet and the paparazzi for this? But you
Yes.
know.
Yes, that would have been perfect too. Oh my gosh, that would have been cool too. Joseph is saying in the comments that this was funny. You can't hate it. They're so committed to this. It's fun. I think with the whole application thing, it's WWE trying to gauge interest for future WWE shop deals or when tickets go on sale for shows. Yeah, they already have t-shirts. I saw them on Instagram. They already have t-shirts, so I'm
Do they
excited
have
for it.
shorts? That's my question. I am waiting for the maximum short collection. WWE shop. If you're out there, drop it tonight or tomorrow, whenever. But you know, or hey, even so they got access in Cali, the maximum Kali collection, and I'll buy me some, and I'll wear them all weekend long.
Oh yes, bring out the shorts. Maximum male model shorts coming soon to a
Yes,
store near
hopefully,
you. Coming
hopefully,
soon.
hopefully.
Um, love it, love it, love it. So moving on to a next another woman segment, we had an entrance from Aaliyah because what was supposed to happen was a tag team match with Aaliyah partnering with Lacey Evans versus Shayna Baszler and Shotzi, but we wound up not seeing Shayna Baszler and Shotzi because as Aaliyah was waiting for Lacey to make her entrance, Lacey made her entrance about a good 3 times because she did not like the reception that she was getting from the WWE universe that was there. I guess they were either not yaying her enough or booing her, and she hated that. But as you can see, on the as you can see on the screen, Lacey was talking, on the microphone about, how she felt like nobody listened to her story of how she was an American hero and how she sacrificed, and how she basically survived everything that she survived in terms of abuse and so many, bad things in her home, which I don't want to take away from because Jesus Christ, like once you
Mm,
rise above all of that, then, you have
it's
my respect. But
yeah.
at the same time, she was saying that she felt like none of the people appreciated her. So she said, "Well, since you guys don't appreciate me and don't give me the respect that I deserve, as far as I'm concerned, all of you guys can go to hell." And she dropped the mic and walked out of the ring. But then Aaliyah was trying to get her to come back because she was ready for the match. But then she attacked Aaliyah and hit her with the woman's right and then stormed away and got more booze. So, Sammy, how do you feel about this change in attitude from Lacey Evans?
Hopefully she goes back to her sassy Seven Bell character. I'm really, really hoping this new character they probably thought was working in that horrendous theme song that they gave her. I don't even know who in the right mind gave her that theme song, but the chick can't sing, okay? No shade, but the chick can't sing. Um, I just don't know what they were thinking in giving her this patriotic character. I mean, we know Lacey can be a heel. It can work for like being a heel works great for Lacey, but this new character, I don't know what's about to happen. Like next week or the weeks after, but I just need her size 7 belt character to come back or something, because I, I just don't know. I don't, mm, I don't, like, I honestly don't know what's next, honestly. And Aaliyah, I feel like she's not making anything bougie, so I'm gonna just keep it there. I'm gonna just keep it there.
Yeah, I felt weird because the last I had heard about Aaliyah was that she was going to, not saying that dirt sheets are either, are gospel truth, but the last thing I read about Aaliyah was the fact that she was supposed to go to like main event or something. And it's really surprised me when she did pop up on SmackDown, but I was happy to see her. But at the
Oh,
same
me
time, I
too.
do kind of agree with you in the sense that Aaliyah is a face, but it's like outside of that, we don't really know exactly what her story is and what her motivations are. When
And
it comes to
that's
Lacey Evans, I
I can hear you. You're good. I can hear you.
yeah, it's just that when it comes to Lacey Evans, I kind of liked the different way her story was being told, but at the same time, I could tell with a lot of people they didn't understand where or why she was telling all of her stories like
I
this.
was
But
confused.
I guess a lot of people feel, yeah, a lot of people feel more, you know, gravitate more towards her being a villainous Southern Belle more than anything else. But at the same time, I don't know. I just felt like her character with the stories that she was telling about the stuff that she overcome, if that felt really real. And I don't
Yeah,
know why they decided to just backpedal on it.
I think it was. I don't know how true this is, but I felt like I saw somewhere that read that it was graphic for younger children, so that's why they stopped. But
Mm.
I mean, technically, you let your kids watch it anyway every Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Friday. So it can't be that bad. But I do
Mhm.
get what they were saying, and how she was telling it. So I do get how that could come off like, you know, not suitable for younger audiences. So I don't know what's next. I just want her to bring back that character, honestly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can figure out more in the near future. But towards the end of SmackDown, the Usos had a supposedly championship contenders match with Lotharios, which kind of confused me because I was just like, how did Los Lotharios, qualify to be a championship contender for the undisputed tag titles? But it seemed as if the Usos made quick work of them. Because as you can see on the screen, they hit a 3D on Humberto Carrillo, and then that's basically, well, the 1D is what they, and they wound up winning the match. So really, after that point, that was it. Then Kayla Braxton
Horrible.
came out and interviewed them and basically talked to them about their Money in the Bank match with the Street, which was absolutely fantastic. Like their match outside of
Absolutely.
the ending, of course. Like outside of the ending was of course was one of the best matches of this year. Um it's like
Hands
you
down.
saw the best of all four of them operating on all cylinders. It was a really good match. But it's just like with that ending, it's like Montez's shoulders, both of his shoulders weren't on the mat. So with all of that going on, you have sort of making excuses as to why they still had the titles. But, it's been made official that the Usos and the Street Profits are fighting at SummerSlam for those tag titles again. And it was alluded to by Caleb Braxton that there might be a special guest referee. We don't know who that could be or whatever, but that's basically what's going on. So what did you think of this to me?
I will say this. I love the Usos, phenomenal tag team, best tag team wrestlers in the WWE right now. I personally would not have put the titles, but both titles on the Usos because I feel like if you have the titles like go on one particular tag team or one person week after week after week, it gets draining. And it's like we don't see like the Usos versus, like Los Storios like weekly. We don't see that. So I just think like, if the Usos can help rebuild and re-elevate the tag division with the Street Profits, then I mean, hey, that I'm here for it. But I do think we might actually be getting Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam. I 100% think we might be getting Solo as the special guest referee. I am 100% sure of that. They didn't say who picked the referee or nothing, but I do think Solo will add another depth to this feud and keep it going. So hopefully I'm right, but I don't want to be wrong. But definitely,
That would be really interesting if it was Solo Sokoa. Because currently Solo Sokoa is shooting with Von Wagner in NXT. And that's cool and everything. And then he wants to feud for the NXT North American title. But at the same time, it would be cool if they did give him that little bit of extra stuff, to do, considering, he is a part of the bloodline officially. So that would be interesting. I like that idea, Sammy. That's a really good idea, but you just never know. That would be very intriguing. I like
hopefully,
that. I
hopefully
like
it's
that a lot.
hopefully it's not like somebody like I don't know, just like Jake Maverick or Reggie or some. Hopefully it's somebody. It's just it's a surprise. But, but other than that, I'm just hoping. I'm hoping it's him. I'm hoping.
What what if it's Naomi though? Like, I don't know. I just want
I
my
mean, I
girls
wouldn't
back.
be
I don't know.
honestly, truthfully, I would not be pissed off at that. Honestly, truthfully, I would not be pissed off at that because I really wanted to see Bianca versus Naomi, and I think if Bianca, I mean, if depending where the women's title match is at, I mean, hey, I wouldn't be upset if Bianca and the Street Profits feuded with Naomi and the Usos. I would not be upset at that at all. Like I would not be upset at that at
Yeah,
all.
I wouldn't either. Yes, yes, we gotta eat it. We'll eat it up. We'll eat it up and we'll live. So basically, to end off SmackDown, we had a match to qualify to basically be the number one contender Clash at the Castle. Um in September between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, but Sheamus claimed that he was coming down with COVID, which I don't think is a funny thing to joke about as of yet because it's been 2 years. But he claimed that he was sick or whatever, so in order to get out of him fighting, he decided to put Butch in his place. And this match went relatively quickly, which upset me because as good as Drew McIntyre is, as good as Butch slash Pete really is, that match could have longer. It didn't, and I was just kind of like, dang. But in the end, Drew McIntyre wound up hitting the Claymore in order to win, even though Sheamus and Ridge were trying to distract him a lot of the time or whatever, he still wound up winning. So I guess now Drew McIntyre is the number one contender to face whoever is the undisputed WWE Universal Champion by the time Clash of the Castle happens in September. So that's basically how SmackDown ended,
Horrendous.
and that was it.
Horrendous. 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 I I Drew. I mean, I'm sorry. Yes, he was the chosen one in 2009. Then he became a jobber. Then came back. I'm tired of seeing this man. Y'all need to keep him at home for a few weeks or something, a few months or something. I'm tired of seeing him and Sheamus. Honestly, like I'm tired of it. They don't do nothing other than probably the females drool over them in the audience. That's about it. But other than that, they don't do nothing else.
Yeah, I feel like the Drew McIntyre experiment is kind of worn out. It's welcome in a degree because as much as I love Drew and as talented as he is, and as much as I respect the fact that he worked his way back up to become the champion, even though he was the champion during the height of the pandemic and stuff like that, it's just, uh, it's like, I don't know. It's just something that's a little bit missing and a little bit dry when it comes to Drew. But, they just have to, I guess he's just the second best guy to run with outside of Roman and outside of Brock. So they have to do, something. And then when it comes to him and Sheamus, they never have a bad match against each other. They never do. So I think they're just utilizing them because they know they can depend on them to deliver a great match, every time. So that's just, how everything is at this point. So that's pretty much the end of SmackDown. It was a pretty okay episode coming off of the heels of Money in the Bank as they prepare to go into SummerSlam. But now we're got to go to the AEW side of things and we got to talk about Rampage. So this card for Rampage seemed like it was a lot going on, on this episode of Rampage. But the show started with Konosuke. Please, I apologize. I apologize because I am not fluent in this language. So if I mess up your name, I do not mean any disrespect. But I'm gonna try my best, okay? So we had Eddie Kingston versus Konosuke Takashita. So this match started off, of course, it started off AEW Rampage, and I didn't know exactly how Eddie Kingston was going to match up against somebody like him who was also really young
Yeah.
and who comes from, the Japanese strong style technique and all of the above. And he moves so fast. So I was just like, how in the world is this going to work against someone like Eddie Kingston who was a brawler? Like, even though their match was kind of like a back and forth kind of deal and they were sort of grappling with each other in terms of their arm holds and everything towards the beginning, I just kept, staring at the screen in bewilderment. Like, how is this going to work? How is this going to work? But, it kind of worked in a sense. But either way, Eddie Kingston wound up winning the match. So yeah, that was pretty surprising to me. But in the midst of that, these sort of riding this momentum that he's carrying into their event next week, and then also, with the rivalry that he has with Chris Jericho. So how did you feel about this event, Sammy?
Come Eddie Kingston is a big crybaby. He can cry, cry, and cry again. I don't like that man. Shout out women's wrestling. Tony Khan, use your women.
Okay, I feel that. I 100% feel that. So the second match, we're gonna get into more of the women later, but the second match that took place was the Gates of Agony versus Lee Moriarty and the Ring of Honor champion Jonathan Gresham, who calls himself the Foundation. And honestly, I just love how he comes out with his mask on, which is an octopus. Like I remember the first time I saw it, it scared me. But then once I realized, I was just like, okay, I understand. And I was looking forward to watching it because it's just like I had heard so much about Jonathan Gresham from so many other people. So I was just like, okay, well, let me see how he wrestles. So when I saw him wrestle for the first time, I was like, okay, I like him. He's great.
That's
I
how
saw
I
him.
was. I was like,
Yeah,
wow. I did not know he was that short.
me neither.
Because let me when I saw him at WrestleCon, I was like, oh, like I thought that was just like the TV, but I said, oh no. I said, oh, all right, like you really are that tiny. All right, congratulations.
Yeah, he may be tiny, but he is a fierce competitor, though.
Yeah.
He's fierce. He's very fierce. There's a reason why he's been champion for such a long period of time. So it's like I really love seeing him, seeing him fight on that episode of Impact a couple months ago. I enjoyed watching him wrestle. And him and Jordan Grace are a cute couple, but we'll save that for another day. I love them. They're a cute married couple. So this was a tag team match, and this was also my first time really seeing the Gates of Agony come out with Tully Blanchard. Um, so it was kind of hard to watch in some places because Lee Moriarty started for his team, but it felt like the Gates of Agony were just beating up on him and using ground and pound in order to basically ruin him throughout the match or whatever. And they were throwing him everywhere. And it felt like a lot of the time Gresham and Moriarty was, relying on their strength. Well, not their strength, but their speed to sort of move them out of the move and try to get the upper hand on the Gates of Agony. But as there was one point where Lee Moriarty was desperate for a tag. He was reaching for Gresham, but then Gresham pulled his hand away. He pulled his hand away and walked away from his partner, and Lee Moriarty looked horrified and angry at that. And then he hugged Tully Blanchard afterward, which made me feel some type of way for other reasons, but we won't get into that today. So he hugged him, and then it looked like, he just turned heel, and then he watched as Lee Moriarty tried to fight back in the match, but then he wound up losing, and Liana and Khan got the win. So the Gates of Agony wound up winning the match. And yeah, it was crazy. And I believe there was a promo a little bit after with Jonathan Gresham explaining why he did what he did. But I was dealing with technical stuff while that was going on, so I didn't hear all of what was said. But Sammy, what did you feel about everything that happened in this tag team match?
So I'm not like I'm still getting used to like like Ring of Honor and like the new faces and stuff. But I will say that team with Tully right there, I need them every Wednesday on my screen. Uh, it was Khan, and To To Tolu To Tolu To
Yeah,
To
Toa Leona.
yeah, him. Um, I will say like I have never seen Connor wrestle. I've like always heard like he was an absolute phenomenal performer and wrestler in the ring. And watching him tonight, I was like speechless watching all of them. But them two right there, like I see bright things for them in Ring of Honor and AEW. Hopefully, Tony Khan hears this, or else I will be tweeting him tonight and telling him, or matter of fact, I will be flying to Dynamite headquarters myself and pop up there.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to pull up and let these people know, Sammy. You just got to do that sometimes. I
I'm just
understand
scratching.
that. I get it. But here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. A lot of people do feel like Ring of Honor is getting a little bit of the short end of the stick there. And they were advertising Death Before Dishonor, which I believe is one of their premier events that they have
Mm,
for Ring of Honor. They did talk about that a little bit. But they do feel like since Tony Khan has purchased Ring of Honor that he sort of gives them a short end of the stick sometimes, and
I
he'll
agree.
slap them on Rampage or put them on Dark or Dark Elevation. And that talent is worth a whole lot more than that. So a lot of people do, feel that way.
It's like I feel the same way too because I feel like, and I'll say when we get to the women, but I feel like you purchasing Ring of Honor, you have all these young upstarts, and like you have, I believe, some people in Impact, like the Honor No More. I believe they're still in Ring of Honor. I'm not really sure,
Hmm.
but you have all these young upstarts in Ring of Honor, like that can be like the next CM Punk, the next Daniel Bryan, the next Samoa Joe, but you do not, like, this company's been around longer than AEW, and you don't know how to book even your own companies at times because I don't know, you need to take your head out your behind and like look at the talent that you have on this roster. Like, you honestly do not care about Ring of Honor, and honestly, I feel like he made that purchase to satisfy the wrestling fans. Because I mean, is there a Ring of Honor TV show that we were promised? No, I don't know who these people are. Like, I don't know who these people are. Like, I don't know. And it's like, if I'm tuning in, I don't know who. Like, let's just say, like, I never seen Ring of Honor. I don't know who John Nick Gresham is. I don't know who these people are. So it would be good if he starts using them on Dynamite, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, and we have more stuff in the more people in the comments. Joseph said Tony doesn't really care about Ring of Honor. I think he bought it to play games with Vince McMahon. We only knew of Death Before Dishonor at Forbidden Door. The tickets went on sale today, 15 days before the pay-per-view. Oh my God, that screams last minute. That
And that's the
screams
thing,
last minute, and it makes me want to have a panic attack.
and that's the thing. Like, we do not know the card. Like, we don't know the match card, who's going to be wrestling. Like, but she just released tickets for a show that has no match card, and that's 15 days away.
Mm.
Do you want to go out of business? Like, are you trying to go out of business? I mean, probably you just have your hands tied because the Jacksonville Jaguars can't win to save them life. But
Oh
are you
Lord.
trying to go out of business, Tony Khan? I need to make a Skype call and send it to him tomorrow and let him know my thoughts. But bless his heart. Mm,
Yes, bless it.
bless his heart. Ugh.
Yeah, and speaking of blessings, we go to women's action on the Rampage card. We had Serena Deeb, who has a beautiful robe on that said that
I
she's the
love
woman
her.
of 1,000 holes, and I enjoy that because it just
I
reminds me of
love her.
Jericho, and how he used to say that about himself in WCW. I thought that was cool. And Mercedes Martinez, who is the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, versus Kayla Sparks and Christina Marie. Now, I don't think I had really heard of Christina Marie before, but I have heard of Kayla Sparks. So it was really good to see them, go up against these two. But it seemed like Kayla and Christina really didn't have that much of a chance going up against technicians, the likes of Serena and also Mercedes, who will roughhouse you, till the cows come home. But even though, there was a decisive win with Mercedes hitting her finisher while having Serena sort of hold Christina in place for it. It just seemed like all they did was fuss at each other throughout the whole thing. They were arguing after it was over. And then Serena Deeb attacked Mercedes, to end their partnership. So I guess it's kind of safe to assume that maybe she might challenge Mercedes for that Ring of Honor title. I don't know how that's going to
It,
work,
that's
but it was really short. And I feel like what you said earlier about the women actually fits more into this conversation, but go ahead and tell me how you felt about it.
like, okay, you have a Ring of Honor Women's World Champion.
Right.
She has been defending this title on YouTube. YouTube, not TBS, TNT, Major Network. YouTube on Dark and Dark Elevation against local enhancement talents. So you need to tell me that Mercedes Martinez, as good as she is, as good of a well-known, respected veteran that she is, you don't know how to book a women's title? I mean, we've seen that, like, I guess your women's division doesn't mean anything to you. I mean, because you only give them maybe 5 minutes a week on TV, and that's that. But I mean, you literally have not given this girl a feud. I mean, her and Athena would have hit. I mean, like her and Riho, like the Joshi girls. Heck, even her and Kira Hogan. We would have even taken Kira Hogan and Mercedes. But you give me her on YouTube. On YouTube.
You hate
Ugh, the
you hate to see
disgrace.
it.
I'm disgusted. Ugh, the disgrace. And
Yeah,
ugh.
it upsets me because I believe on Forbidden Door they said that Tony Storm and um Thunder Rosa's match was 10 minutes. And I was very disappointed to hear that because you have so many talented women. Um and even tonight they showed a clip of Athena and Chris Statlander um making their intentions known at Jade for the TBS title, and I appreciate that, but then also at the same time I just feel like for Thunder Rosa to be your world's women's champion, you're not doing, it's like she's not really being booked as strongly as she could be booked. And it's just like you're not giving the women that much time at all. It's almost as if he believes that women aren't, worthy of that much television. And it bothers me because this is a newer company. This is a company that started like in 2018, 2019. It's
Mhm.
been 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not like, they had to, catch up with the times or something like that. It's not like they're an older company that was founded during the time of which women were seen as second class citizens and
Yeah.
couldn't really wrestle. Even though women still have pretty far to go in society today, we're a lot further than we once were. And it's just like for you to start off your company by saying, you're going to do all these things only to not do them and not do right by your women. It's just really sad.
It
It's really, really sad.
and Thunder Rosa. I mean, she's been saying that she's been upset and crying about it. I mean, sweetie, we don't want you as champion. I mean, I'm so sorry to tell you that, but you do nothing for the people as champion. I mean, congratulations. You can add that to your accolade in AEW, but I just feel like you could have even thrown Jade and Athena on Forbidden Door, or even Chris Statlander and Jade for the TBS title, but you literally only had one women's match out of a sausage fest. I'm
Hmm.
confused. What are we doing here? I mean, the audacity of this, like the audacity of Tony Khan to literally, and even when the media calls too, he talks. He's literally, not to be, well, I'm gonna be blunt. I don't think he knows how to properly book a women's division now that Kenny Omega is at home soaking up his injuries. I don't think he does, because if you literally knew how to book women's wrestling properly, you would give us 30 women's matches in a 2-hour time frame. Hell, WWE can do it, so why can't you? And your women's division is stacked as it is. So, like I said, Tony Khan, like something like Tony's got to change something, and I think like he's catering towards a new demographic of like, okay, well, like fans, like the network doesn't want women. I'm sorry, but women's wrestling has taken off in the past years. I don't know if he's just coming to reality now in 2022. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I'll mimic a flight to Jacksonville, Florida at the next press conference and say what I have to say and be in that meeting. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I feel like if he does not value women's wrestling, then it'll be to his detriment. Ultimately, it'll be to him and AEW's detriment. And it's like we can sit here and I feel like we say this verbatim every week in terms of AEW and their women. And I feel like if he's not willing to take constructive criticism from anyone, whether it be man or woman, then there might not be anything anybody could do at this point. And it's sad to say, but he's shown himself, to be a person who does not take constructive criticism well.
And
So it's
and that's the thing too. Like, and as much as I say this about Maria, as much as I don't like her character, like, and people have heard me say, like, I like Maria the human, but I don't like her character because I'm just not used to seeing her as a heel. I'm just not. It does not nothing for me. But the thing she did in TNA when she built the Knockouts division in 2016 to 2018, you could even use Maria and have her come in as a heel and literally shake the division up. But you're not doing that. You're not doing that. And then you could have even used the women for your crossover with Impact. Did you do that? No, you used Kenny Omega stupid behind because you thought he would draw in ratings. News flash, you lost.
Yeah, it's sad, but hopefully it can get better because ultimately we're here, to support the women in any way, shape, or form that we can here at Women's Wrestling Talk. But at the same time, here's just hoping that things will get better, for them and that they will be valued, and that more people who value women's wrestling will work for that company and do better for them. So moving forward, we had in our main event, we had Orange Cassidy versus Tony Nese. This match was pretty crazy. Like crazy in terms of athleticism, crazy in terms of shenanigans outside of the ring from Smart Mark Sterling and Danhausen almost cursing people to maybe cursing people and so many different things. It was a lot going on in this match. But here again, this was something that I was able to watch in and out because here again I was dealing with technical issues. Well, not really. Well, yeah, technical issues. So, Sammy, how did you feel about the match, and what did you see in the match that stood out to you?
For one thing, I love no Danhausen. I think like he's grown on me since he's been with Hook. So I do think he'll be a champion, probably TNT champion within the next year. Tony Nese, now that he's with Mark, I don't know if this was a good choice. I'm personally am not the biggest Tony Nese fan, but I feel like and that's another one where I'm using him to his full potential. Like him and Orange Cassidy, Orange Cassidy, phenomenal performer, hopefully I get to see him wrestle one day. That's a bucket list of mine. But Tony Nese and Mark Sterling, I feel like are are very opposite of each other. I would have personally put him with Biggie. I felt like that would have been a more better way to get you heat. Mark Sterling honestly was just known for Jade. Honestly, no shade, but I mean that's basically all we know him for. Um, but I mean the match was, I mean, it was decent. Um, I just, I Tony Nese does nothing for me. I watched it on mute. That's just how it is.
Okay. And even with the stipulation that was set in place, like it was like if Tony Nese had won, then Orange Cassidy would have had to have signed a petition to get Swerve Strickland off of the AEW roster. So I guess, it's safe to assume that since Orange won the match, then that's not gonna happen. And not Shane, Swerve Strickland is going to stay on the roster because of course now he is also in a feud um in the tag division with the Young Bucks and also Team Taz with his partner Keith Lee. So yeah, that's pretty much how AEW Rampage ended. Both pretty, both shows, SmackDown and Rampage, were pretty, solid for the most part. But, we're just still in the building phases towards various events. WWE is building towards SummerSlam. AEW is building towards, their Fighter Fest next weekend, along
Oh
with
gee.
All Out, which is happening in September. And then WWE is also slowly building towards Clash at the Castle in September as well. So that's the end. Yeah.
Oh
There's a lot
gee.
going on. Huh?
Ooh, that's a little back to back.
Yeah,
Lord.
it's gonna get crazy. But thank you guys in the chat for participating, and watching us, and discussing things as well. I know Dreon popped in. I hope you're enjoying your vacation. And I hope you enjoyed your birthday. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Sammy, for joining me on tonight.
Of
In the
course.
you were a fun guest. Like I really enjoyed having you here and enjoyed
I had to
hearing your
represent,
opinion.
my girl tonight, had to come on here and, live it up. So hopefully, I'll be back. Hopefully, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, well, you're always welcome. So just tell everybody where they can find you and follow you on social media.
Well, you can follow my Instagram right here. My Twitter it's Sammy SZN. That's basically where you can find me. If you do not like Liv, don't follow me. Yeah, and I'm just here to give my unfiltered opinions on women's wrestling. So y'all can follow me. No, there.
Okay, Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show with me tonight. As usual, you guys know you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, and of course, listen to my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, everywhere you get your podcasts, and even on my YouTube channel, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Please check it out. Last weekend, I put out my 100th episode, so I hope you check that out and enjoy it. And also, please know that you can follow us follow Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet, on Instagram and Twitter at WW Talk Pod, and check out our website www.talkpod.com, where we have all kinds of articles, editorials, interviews, and also amazing merchandise that you can purchase, to represent, what all the things you love about women's wrestling, and just continue to support us as we continue to grow and continue to advocate for women's wrestling, because it is an amazing thing within wrestling, and we will continue to fight for it and advocate for it as much as we possibly can and raise our voices against the machine. We are the Avengers of women's wrestling media, and as always, thank you guys for joining us for the SmackDown and AEW Rampage After Show. And of course, we'll be back next week, and then you can watch all of our other programming on our YouTube channel. That's Women's Wrestling Talk as well. And also follow us on TikTok. Our TikTok is popping, and Katrina is doing a fantastic job with that as well. So please check that out too. So until next time, this is Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. Good night, y'all, and have a great weekend.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the number one women's wrestling show on the planet.